Alright, I just started this live. I'm gonna wait for some people to trickle in, hopefully. I know it's a Friday afternoon, so a lot of people are gonna be busy, but that's okay because I'm gonna be posting this to my Instagram page and my YouTube channel afterwards. So even if people miss it right now, they should be able to watch it like in the future too. So yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, so people should be able to watch it retroactively, but yeah, I'm still gonna wait maybe like 5 minutes or so, I think, before we get started with the birthday festivities. I think I said, I don't think I announced the time for this. Oops. I think I mentioned maybe starting at 3 my time before, but it's like an hour earlier than that, so oops. Yeah, and most people have like stuff they're doing on a Friday afternoon, but that's okay. I should have done better at like promoting this, but like I was out all day yesterday, so yeah. Well, I'll just get started. Welcome to Cursed Fate's birthday party! Woo! See? Cursed Fate is turning 1. I'm trying to get this. Let me scooch the phone over. See? 1. Very happy that we got that up there. Yeah, so this is welcome to Cursed Fate's first birthday party. I got balloons up. Blew them up myself, except for the exception of that one. My husband helped me with that one. So yeah, we got balloons up, and my husband even picked up a cake for me since I didn't have time to bake anything at all. Boop boop. Isn't it cute? It's like chocolate and peanut butter, and it smells delightful. I know you guys can't smell it, but you can see it. Here you go. And there's like a little 1 candle on top. Do-do. So, yeah, I'm gonna light that candle and like blow it out on behalf of Cursed Fate, since a book can't really blow out a candle. And yeah, I'm gonna do that on live, and then I'm gonna eat some cake while I'm on live, and then just talk about stuff in general, book things. Yeah, we'll see. What I've been up to lately, things like that. So, yeah. I'm just going to go ahead and light the candle. I know you can't see it. I don't know if you can see it. See? Okay. Is the happy birthday song trademarked? Will Instagram yell at me for that? Let me see. Oh! There you go. I'm just like posing for like a thumbnail picture for Instagram and YouTube. But yeah, see? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Cursed Fate. Happy birthday to you. And many more. Oh, we're gonna close our eyes and make a big wish. Nice. Okay, so I'm gonna try my best. There's a candle. I'm gonna try my best to like cut this and not make a mess at my desk, cause I'm still very much at my desk. Just cause the lighting and the props and everything, I guess, is better than the kitchen, you know. But yeah, so I'm gonna try to cut this and get it on a plate, and then I'll just have like a snack time eat time type thing. Ugh. I don't want like a huge piece of cake. This cake's kind of small, so every piece is gonna like proportionally be huge. But I figured I'd do this like after I ate lunch because it felt natural to have dessert after eating. So that's why I'm doing this now. Oops. I get some of that cake in the middle. Oh, shit. I didn't see anything. I didn't get any of it on the carpet, so that's good. Okay. Oh, sorry. That was a weird face. It's just I just got tattooed yesterday, so when I move around, sometimes it hurts. But yeah, I think I posted it to my story. But if you want to see it, I can maybe show you it too. Maybe. Oh. Oh, bam. Can you see this? Bam. That's my tattoo. I will post pictures of it later when it's not as scary. It doesn't look scary. Like, it's just swollen and red. And it's like kind of starting to scab. So it's in its healing process. Sorry, I'm just getting my focus there. It's in its healing process. So yeah, that's why if I move around and make a face, that's why. But see, here's the cake. It's chocolate and peanut butter. I love chocolate and peanut butter. It's like one of my favorite flavors. So it's very nice. It's very good. So yeah, it's Curse Fate's birthday. A year ago today, and our first book ever was published. It's a weird feeling. Happy feeling, but a very weird feeling because it doesn't feel like a year ago at all. It literally feels like maybe like a month ago. I don't know. I mean, I'm very happy, and like as most of you know, I'm currently working on a sequel to this book, which is Cursed Descent, and the first draft's almost done. I feel like I keep saying that forever, but it's almost done, I promise. I'm at like, is it 86,000 words now? Normally like a typical fantasy book, or like this is like 90,000 words, so I'm almost done with the first draft. Just trying to figure out the ending, and for me, I feel like that's the hardest part of writing, is trying to figure out an ending. Maybe it's that way for some other people too, but yeah, it's like it's just hard for me to try to make sure I get it right, because not only is it the ending to like a book, it's the ending to this series for now. I guess I can talk about that too, because somebody like in my question and answers thing like a few days ago wanted me to talk to about like the books and the like upcoming projects too. So yeah, so like the next book is technically the end in the series. My original idea for this book was to have Cursed Fate, then Cursed Descent, end it, and then maybe one day revisit it with like a third book, like as a prequel from the father's perspective, right, or from like a before Vincent times. And just kind of go into way more high fantasy kind of vibes than this, because this isn't really like high fantasy or anything. It's like dark fantasy, but like there's magic and stuff, but it's not like Lord of the Rings-y. But if I were to make a prequel, I feel like that would be more about the history of like this Vincent and his family and all the other characters in the book that exist before this. and kind of like the geopolitical stuff that was going on. Because you don't get a lot of that in Cursed Fate, like at all. Cursed Fate's more of me introducing characters, or introducing Vincent and then like the other princesses and the other characters, and like them going around and meeting each other. The second book dives in a lot more into different people's backstories, and I just feel like it's got this more mature sense about it than this one does. Like I started this one when I was like 19. I started Cursed Fate when I was 19. And I think you can kind of tell, at least in the beginning, it feels pretty angsty. But then I revisited it a few years later, and I, updated the writing, right, to hopefully not like sound too much like a 19-year-old, but I still wanted to keep that spunk in there, and that was important to me because I felt like it was the lifeblood of this book, was that spunk. And the second one, it's still very interesting. It's like I think it's still the same sort of storytelling. It's just a more matured version of that, I guess. I don't know. At least that's what I think. I haven't, like I said, I haven't finished the first draft yet. I need people to read it and stuff first to kind of give me feedback during the editing phase and whatnot. So, yeah. But there's that. So that's what's going on now. I debated starting the prequel right after I finished Cursed Descent, but I don't know if I necessarily want to do that right now. Just because it's like I've been kind of working on the same project for so long. This would be like 2 years now, which I guess is like a short and a long amount of time depending on your perspective, but I kind of want to just try something different. So I might write like a couple of one-shot stories in between and then maybe revisit that. Or if sales do really well for Cursed Fate and this next upcoming book, then maybe I would consider doing the prequel right away. But I just have other ideas, and like I've been writing a lot more short things. Obviously for Instagram. I've been making very short content for Instagram, which is a lot of fun. And it helps me scratch that, like, this is creative. Like, everything is creative, you know what I mean? But I feel like Cursed Fate and Cursed Descent have become, like, that's my work. Like, the daily grind, like, that's part of the daily grind. And, like, the short burst stories that are fresh and new enough to scratch that, like, creative itch in my brain. So even though I'm being creative for work, it's, like, something different. You know what I mean? Like, I could be more playful than, like, what I do on my daily grind. So that's been a lot of fun. I got a couple of short stories written. I don't know what to really do with them. So I guess I'm like looking at other people's anthologies and like submitting them, but I like, honestly, I've just been kind of so focused on writing and finishing Cursed Descent that I haven't really focused on like submitting other pieces anywhere. I don't know how people have the mind space or energy to do all that. Like, I don't know. It's just so weird to me, like, because it's like, it is a lengthy process to submit things, like, over and over and over again, and it's just, I feel like a lot of emotion goes into that, and even though I'm working on emotionally numbing myself to that sort of application and rejection process, it still is draining, I think. So yeah, I've just been focusing on writing itself as opposed to like other parts of that process. I don't know. Oh, excuse me. I'm really trying to finish this cake, but like, I'm kind of full. So I'll probably just keep this live going while I'm eating, because it's probably going to take me a while to finish my little piece. The next story idea I have that I really want to work on, I don't know if it's going to be my next idea, but I feel like it's my best idea. I have other ideas cooking that are pretty like quirky and fun, but my favorite one that I really want to work on, I just don't know if it's the time yet. You know how you kind of have like instinctual things about like divine timing? I don't know if it's time for this one yet, but the one I'm most excited about is writing a story, like a Lovecraftian monster, interdimensional alien type thing. That kind of story. But the main character is a Midwestern grandmother who runs her own farm. And I'm from the Midwest, so it's kind of homey to me, I think. And it's like, I know people that would fit this character profile very well, so I think I could really write a really strong main character. But the whole point is that, like, because of ageism and, like, all this other bullshit, nobody really takes her claims seriously in town. Like, she's, like, telling everybody she's seeing stuff, but they're just kind of like, "Ah, grandma, you're so silly, haha," you know, type of vibe, and that forces her to take action on her own through her own means, to try to figure this out. And yeah, I don't know, I feel like it'd be a really interesting voice and perspective, so that's what I'm really excited about. And I'd like to start, but I have other project ideas too. Like, I have my my boy band mystery that I want to work on too. That was supposed to be next after Cursed Fate. That was an idea I was really hooked on for a while because I'm like super into BTS. And I was like, oh, I have to write this because I love BTS and BTS is so popular and yada yada yada. But like, I don't know. I feel like maybe that one should be next because of like timeliness and stuff. But I don't know, who knows? Plus, like, with that whole, like, not threat, I don't know, that whole hiatus bullshit that happened this week about BTS and, like, how scared I was that they were, like, actually going to break up, and then it turned out to just be like, oh, we're just not making music together as a group, but we're, like, working on individual things. Like, I was, like, so, I don't know, I was just confused by all that mess, and I was, like, worried for a second. I was like, oh, no, they can't break up, please. But, like, again, like, if that's what they want to do, they're adults with agency, like, of course, but I was just, like, so upset about that. I was like, what? So, yeah, so I don't know, maybe it's timely. I feel like maybe that could be one I could work on next and put a lot of time. I haven't really written a whole lot of mysteries or anything yet, but I kind of want to start incorporating that into, like, my fantasy stories, just to, like, have more of, like, a gotcha or plot twist type of element to them. So I've been reading a fair bit of mysteries in between different horror books, and stuff like that. And, you know, some of them I enjoy, some of them not as much, but I just kind of want to get different, I don't know, maybe inject a new vibe into, like, the stories, you know? Because even though I really, like, I love writing spooky stuff, and I do really gravitate towards that, I still want to play around and experiment for a bit before I, like, anchor myself into one genre, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? I'm really eating frosting. I think some other questions people had were about, like, oh, do you want a piece? You can have a piece. I gotta get you a plate, but you can have a piece.
I got a plate later.
Ah, yeah, you can have some. It's really rich. It is good. It's really moist.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like more of like a whipped cream cheese type of frosting, so
Ooh.
you'll like it. Yeah, you'll really like it. But it's very, like, good peanut buttery. I'm only gonna have one piece because I'm already getting full, but. One Piece. Da-da-da-da. Yeah, we started One Piece. We started One Piece recently. I never wanted to start because there's so many damn episodes, but everyone's like, "Hey, Miguel, you gotta watch One Piece." So now we're watching it, and it is really fun. I like it a lot. We started watching it because we realized we don't have anything to watch. Like, we finished all the shows that we were supposed to, and we're like, you know, we couldn't find anything we really latched onto, but we're really enjoying One Piece. And, like, my brother's been trying to get me to watch it forever. So yeah, we started watching it, and it's fun. It's a fun anime. So really cute. We love pirates in this house. We are very much a pirate household. So yeah, so we've been doing that, and that's what that was the reference for. Oh my god. Excuse me. But yeah. I don't know if anybody's interested in other stuff about Cursed Fate. I know I'm really bad at selling my own book. I know. I don't want this to just be like a promotional thing, because I think the last couple of posts of mine have been kind of promotional. And I don't know, I feel always icky doing that, even though it's like you're supposed to do that. I don't know, I'm not really. But I do think somebody else wanted me to talk about like how I got inspired for this, where my ideas came from, things like that. So I might as well just like tell you the whole like spiel about how this got started. So this specific project, because before Cursed Fate, I've written like, again, short things, poetry, like, you know, all the feel good therapy type shit. Not so feel good therapy type shit, but so I wrote that kind of stuff. And then when I was dating my husband, when we were early on dating, his hobby is making video games. Like, Douglas likes to make video games and apps on his phone. He's got some cool ones, but he was interested in making video games. I'm interested in making stories or storytelling in general. And his other friend back home in Brazil was also, at the time, like the two of them like were collaborating on stuff. And they wanted to bring me on to write a book series based on whatever media project they were doing. And they weren't really like solidified as like a, you know, like a solid, like, yeah, this is what we're doing, these are our concepts. They were just kind of more like in the ambitious phase where you're like, yeah, we're going to do this, but then like not a lot of concrete plans. So I took a look at their stuff, and they basically wanted to make like a very fantasy RPG type thing. But I like hated all of their ideas. So I was just kind of like, okay, if I write this, can I change everything and do what I want? And they were like, I guess so, yeah. So my husband, the only stipulations he really gave me at that time were the title, Cursed Fate. I couldn't, that's the title they were going for, or like he really wanted. And then the main character's name had to be Vincent. And I was like, alright. So he basically, and back then, he was like, this was going to be like a 1700s type, old-fashioned-y, culty, like, I don't know where he really wanted, really, but like really old-fashioned, culty, like, type of thing with a grimoire, like, talking to him and like telling him to do mischievous deeds, I guess. I don't know, but I changed that. I was like, no ma'am. So what I really wanted to do, I wanted something a little bit more timely and youthful, and like something with a little bit of bite to it and edge. So Cursed Fate at that time took place in modern times. At that time, again, this was quite a few years ago when I was 19. So, which is like 8 years ago. Oh my god. Oh my god. 8 years ago, I was 19, and it took place in modern times that way. I wanted a diverse bunch of characters, so I wanted it to take place in like a realm. I just wanted it to be a little bit more diverse, a little bit more youthful, a little bit more modern. So we did that, and then I completely switched up. I got really inspired at the time by plants and animals from Madagascar, like the country, so I wanted to incorporate like this fantasy world kind of like based on the geography of that, because at the time I was just looking for places on Earth. I was like, okay, what is the most like not really unusual but like unique form of life on Earth, you know, like I'm always looking for unique landscapes, things like that. And I stumbled on Madagascar, and I was doing a lot of research on the ecology of the island and like the different species on that island that didn't exist other places in the world. And I was like, oh sweet, yeah. So a lot of the stuff that I built up is based on the actual country of Madagascar. So that was just like an inspiration. It's not supposed to be like a one-for-one type of thing, but yeah. So it's just supposed to be kind of like that. What else? I feel like at the time too, a lot of my inspiration from the character of Vincent was based on my teenage brother. Just because I was like, okay, how would a teenage boy act? And luckily enough, I had one in my life, so I focused on that. But
And there's other characters based on, like, other people, too. And things change, like, you can kind of, like, borrow certain traits from certain people and, like, mesh them together in a new person. So I feel like a lot of my characters have elements of me in them, but, like, me fused with other people in my life, if that makes sense. I don't know. Like Vadasoa, I got a lot of inspiration from my brother as well. In terms of, like, how she responds to conflict. That was my big thing. And then the same thing with Ahitra, I was thinking about my sister. And primarily, like, you know, her attitude and appearance and stuff, but also how she responds to conflict. Because they kind of respond to these sorts of things in completely different ways. And that was, like, my biggest source of, like, characterization for them. I wanted them to have this kind of, like, dichotomy between the two of them, where you see, like, different ends of the spectrum. And I just kind of borrowed traits from, like, people I know in my life and did that. I feel like, though, like, little things trickle out. But if I had to pick, like, a self-insert character, and truthfully, I hate those in any book. I hate self-insert characters. I hate them. I can't tell you why, I just do. But if I had to pick a self-insert for myself, it would probably be Lelina. At least that's how I think it goes, but I'll leave that up to you. You don't really get a lot of that in the first book, because she's not as big of a player. But in the second book, it's really when she gets fleshed out a whole lot. And I think you get the most growth from her. Okay, sorry. I think you get the most growth from her in the second book I'm working on right now, which has been very enjoyable for me. Yeah. So I guess those are the two main things that I wanted to talk about. I also started this live early because I think we're supposed to get, like, really bad thunderstorms here in my city. So yeah, I didn't want to be filming during the thunderstorms and stuff too. Like, I know I said I'd go live later in the afternoon, but I just didn't want to go live with lightning strikes and stuff like that, and with as much lighting and power I use during my video stuff, like, nah. So I just wanted to get this up early just in case it was going to rain. You know, it's kind of, even though it would have been a little bit more spooky-ooky, but I just didn't want to, like, deal with all that, you know. Don't you hate when you hear, like, a bump in the night and you're like, whoa, what's that? That just happened to me right now with the air conditioner. Yeah. I kind of need more water, too. Maybe I'll ask Douglas to get me some. He took the trash can with him. I don't know why. Oh, maybe he's taking out the trash. That would be very nice of him to do, but yeah, I'm trying to think of more book stuff. So I told you some upcoming project ideas. I have another one that's like a vampire-y, post-apocalyptic kind of thing, because I like vampires. That one's not as well fleshed out. There's another one, again, not fleshed out at all. Just a lot of ideas about a teenage girl starting a cult, which I guess is kind of like the Crucible, but like more fun. I don't know. But yeah, I have that one because, like, I'm fascinated. I'm fascinated by cults. They're so scary. They truthfully are. But it's just kind of like the psychological tactics to convince someone to literally abandon everything in their life to do what you want, that's trippy to me. And not, like, here's the thing with cult people, okay? It's not because they have some, like, unique talent. Like, they might tell people they have a unique talent, but most of the time it's not there. Like, in terms of, like, what I've seen in terms of cult people, it's, like, people who are very, very mediocre in, like, everyday life. Like, they're not really that spectacular, but they just sell people on this idea. It's, like, all marketing and selling. Like, they just, I don't know, that they just brand themselves in such a way where people will do this kind of shit. And if you listen to it objectively for the first time, you're like, oh my god, this is bullshit. But, like, I don't know. I'm watching, like, well, I was watching. I had to stop because it was really, like, kind of messing me up. Just, like, I don't know. They have that thing on Hulu. I don't understand what the point of it is, because I don't know if it's meant to demonize her or, like, support her. I don't know, but it's like the, what's it called? Deep End? It's like a docu-series called Deep End with, like, Teal Swan lady. And they're, like, actively interviewing her and her little, like, posse or whatever. And she's just so aggressive. Like, because I was always interested, because I feel like you hear about more male cult leaders than you do female cult leaders. So it's like, oh, I wonder if there's, like, a big difference, right? And, like, how they market themselves or what they do. But she's still very, very aggressive and very defensive, I think, as her personality. And it's very, like, not saying that, like, I'm not saying that women can't be, like, frank. That's not the point. But I'm talking, like, in general as a human being, she's just very, very abrasive and rude, especially if you try to push back on her. She automatically gets super defensive and starts swearing at you and stuff like that, and very paranoid. And she uses the same sort of thing that all the cult people do, where they're like, we are not like everybody else, like, they're coming for us, they're attacking our lifestyle, blah 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 blah. we're unique kind of bullshit. That should be your first clue. If you feel like anything's culty in your life or feels like a cult, do they see themselves as above the average human beings? Yes, they're probably a cult. Like, being like, oh, you can't have salvation until you join us specifically, that's probably a cult. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not going to get too deep into that, because I think that maybe some of my followers or viewers have, like, different belief systems than I do. I'm just going to leave it at that. Yeah, anyways, so, yeah, cults. So I was, like, fascinated by that, because I was like, okay, but what if, like, a teenage girl tried to do this? Because I feel like teenage girls can. Because you look at the market for, like, literally anything, even though adults have like, higher earning or more potential for buying power, teenage girls really fuel our culture and the market about what's cool and what's not cool. So, and there's, like, studies and books about this. I saw one, I should have picked it up, but there's, like, studies done and books done on this in terms of economics, and, like, yeah, women tend to have, like, people target things towards women because they, in general, dictate household finances, but, teenage girls are the ones that push for culture and trends, and everybody tries to market towards young people, and those young people that are pushing the trends are young girls. So I thought that would be an interesting kind of thing to do, like something that's kind of Heathers-esque, I guess, but Heather-esque, Mean Girl-esque type of thing, but it's just, like, a cult leader. And I read Bunny, that was, like, recommended to me. I can't remember who did. I'm so sorry. I can't remember who recommended Bunny to me. But it's like, it's the same thing about not the same thing. It's grad students who are in a cult. And they're, like, English lit people. So there's a lot of inside jokes for English lit people or whatever. It's, like, it's good. It's very trippy psychologically. And I enjoyed it as a read, like, it was entertaining for me, but it's not at all what I want to do, but I still picked it up because I'm like, oh, this is somebody who had the same sort of concept as me. They just went in completely different directions, because, you know, it's just very trippy. You don't really know what's real or not real, and I think that's the point. Like, I don't know if they're all on drugs or somebody's schizophrenic. I've read so many, like, theories about the book about what the fuck's going on. So, I mean, it's good if you want to read it. It's just, it can be a little bit much because it is specifically horror. But yeah, anyway, I enjoyed it. So I have something like that. I want it to be more campy than necessarily creepy, but we'll see. Again, that's not really fleshed out. I talked about the vampire one, talked about the cult one. Yeah, I don't know. I just love like fun concepts because I don't know. I think I've learned through a lot of like my long writing and my short writing that I'm kind of just, I don't know, like I put camp into everything. I think Cursed Fate and Cursed Descent aren't as campy as some of my other story ideas, but I think there's this level of like emotional urgency that's in them that I want to carry through. Like I wanted to still have the same sort of breadth and emotional feeling as some of my other stuff. But like, you know, I have a short story about Furbies too. I have a couple short stories that I wrote that kind of take place in the desert, like around Palm Springs, because I really like Palm Springs. We went there on holiday one time, and I ended up writing 2 things about the Southern California desert. Sorry, I'm moving again. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see, but I don't know what I'm trying to say. I think that part of me likes fusing nostalgia, toys, girliness. Maybe it's just like queerness, but not in like, okay. This is me talking as a queer person, okay? Like, something can be queer without explicitly having 2 people of the same sex or kiss, right? Or something can be queer without being like a love story, right? And I feel like media as a whole hasn't really picked up on that just yet, or they don't know that. Because most of the queer stories that you see or the queer characters focus so much so on like attraction and relationships. And yes, it's very important. That I think that kind of defines, like, your sexuality kind of defines you. Not your sexuality doesn't define you, but it is the most obvious characteristic about queerness, I think, is, you know, relationships and things like that. Or even like, but it ignores other things. It ignores subcultures, it ignores expression, it ignores philosophies, mindsets, like, I don't know, just queer living. You know what I mean? You have like country living, like those magazines that my grandma has. But there should be like a queer living run, right? And I feel like there's a queerness in a lot of my interests in stories that come through because they're always told in a certain way. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I need to flesh out these ideas more before I speak them on camera, because somebody might try to clock me. But yeah, does that make sense? Like, I think we've done the queer romances. I'm very proud of them. I'm glad they exist, and they're going to be super helpful for young people just trying to figure out who they are or just discovering their sexuality in general. Like, yeah, but after you've gotten to that point, what else? What's next? You know what I mean? And that's kind of what I want. And I know there's queer media for us that shows, like, things like, you know, drag performances and, like, how does one play with, like, fashion and gender, and, like, all that is super, super important too, and I love that kind of shit, and I want to put more of that in my books. But there's also just, I don't know, vibes, I guess. I don't know. But, yeah. That's the best way I can explain it. I don't know. I feel like it's like an unwritten rule with some queer folk, because we just vibe. It's just vibes. You get it or you don't. The girls that get it, and the girls that don't. You know what I mean? I'm stealing that from TikTok and other people, but yeah. There's a lot of frosting on this cake. I kind of went on a tangent there. I apologize. But I just want to say thank you to everybody who has read Cursed Fate, or who follows me and, like, follows my writing, or follows the short stuff I post, or just, like, supports me in any way, because I really, really appreciate it. Like, writing for me has always been something intrinsically I wanted to do, but, like, I feel like I got in this rut where I felt like I was talking about this with my tattoo artist actually yesterday, because we both have a similar experience with this, where I was an English major, but then I transferred to international studies because I was really interested about the world in general, and I wanted to learn new things. And my mindset was like, okay, you know, I'm reading these stories in English, but there's a whole other world of stories that I don't have exposure to. You know, folklore, actual stories written by these people, whoever. So I want to try to expose myself more to the history and cultural and literature of these different places, right? And my undergrad didn't really have like, oh, Russian lit, German lit, all that. No, it was really just English lit, right? And then some anthropology classes, right? So I did international studies as a way to learn about like the government, culture, language, all this kind of shit. Because you take a variety of classes, and I'm just somebody who likes to learn, so that really attracted to me. But then once I was in that realm, I just felt like there were so many atrocities going on that like I had to just devote my life to this kind of stuff and like try to save the world and try to get people to fix their shit from the inside. And like my whole life mission was to be like the next AOC, you know what I mean? And I just got really tired and really burnt out. And then like after getting my master's degree and graduating into the pandemic and that giant hiring freeze that still is kind of continuing in a lot of ways, I felt useless and powerless, and it really affected my mental health. And I was just like in a really dark place because I was like, oh, I don't have a purpose anymore. Like if I can't go out and help people. I can't even volunteer in a lot of places because we weren't allowed to be in contact with anybody. And you know, I wasn't living for myself, I was living for others. And even though like it's like righteous things, right? Like you want to help your community and you want to help the world, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I just think that I put too much focus on my personal individual responsibility for things, as opposed to doing stuff that makes me happy and being kind, because I had to learn that even just kindness or even just like being nice to people is a radical political act in terms of not only like community care, but like everything in this world wants you to be bitter and mean. And if you can just rise above that and just be like, you know what, no, I'm going to be genuinely me, I love myself, I'm going to show other people how to love themselves, I'm going to show other people like how they can chase their dreams and how they can do it if they want to, you know, like I sound like one of those stupid influencers, but like it, you know, not in a fake way, but like genuinely, like just be fucking nice. That in itself does a lot for community care too. So like while it's great to be on the front lines and be an activist, you can only do that for so long. And truthfully, I don't know, it was starting to affect my health, and my health kind of took a shit during the pandemic. I'm fine, you guys don't have to worry about me, I'm fine, but I think all the years of repressed stress finally got to me, and my body just caved, you know, and I'm feeling better now, but for a while it was just kind of roughing it. And the only thing that got me out of that was writing, because it was a choice I actively made for myself, and I said this was going to make me feel better, this is what I want to do, I'm not going to give up on this dream, I've put it on the back burner for too long, and I'm going to do something for me. So that's where Cursed Fate came from, and it's ironic that I said it's for me, even though it was supposed to be like a written assignment for some other folks, but in my head that was like the only way I can make that quote-unquote selfish choice, right? I can't do anything for myself. I might as well start this project for Douglas and get this done for him, and maybe use this as his platform or springboard to get into stuff that I want to do. But this was my baby step into getting into my career as a writer, and even though it was done for somebody else, kind of, it's still really, really, really important to me. And I probably said this in other videos, or maybe I've said it in like some author interviews before, but this is something that I knew I wanted to do since infancy. I was a very shy, very sensitive, crying kid who didn't really have a lot of friends that easy, but then I learned that me telling stories that people like those stories, and that was a vehicle for me to get more confident and make friends. Yeah. I don't know. It just made me feel comfortable. When things were bad, I read, and I got away from stuff that was bad through books, and I just kind of want to be that for other people too, you know? So, in a way, you're still, again, being political by putting kindness out in the world, right? However you can. Art is inherently political, writing is inherently political, everything is inherently political, I think, or like social or whatever, but hey, I think you get what I'm saying, right? I want to inspire and I want to give back, but I also want to choose happiness for myself. I don't want to compromise that. So that's my long speech about that. I hope that you found it helpful if you were listening. I don't know. But, yeah. I think I'm going to eat the cake, but I might leave the frosting for the ghost. Because it's a little much. Okay. Well, I'm done. Sorry. Yeah, I finished the cake. That's really all I had planned today. Again, not a lot of people hopped in this live. That is okay. I completely understand. No skin off my back, or skin off my bones, or however you say that phrase. I don't know. But, yeah, that's kind of like where we've been so far. Talked about what we're going to do in the near future. The sequel will get done soon, hopefully. And then beyond that, who knows? Got a lot of options. But yeah. I'm sorry, this is so awkward. If you like that, please continue to follow me on Instagram. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe for more. I really appreciate it. I was like 1 subscriber away from 200 subscribers, I think, on YouTube. So if we can get that, that'd be great. Thank you so much to anybody who's been along for this journey in any shape or form. I really, really appreciate you a lot. More than you probably could ever think. Even if you've never talked or met, thank you. I appreciate you. And until then, I guess I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye. Try to figure out how to turn this on.